Hey everyone, it's Viking here for the end of Attack of the Clones. So, yeah, this is probably one of my favourite Star Wars films behind Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith. Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith are basically like the number one spot. They both share the same spot. Then it's Return of the Jedi, except for the Ewoks. The Ewoks were fucking dumb. Though they were cannibals, so in a way it kind of evens out slightly. And then Attack of the Clones. And I say that because I just loved it. I loved how different it was, but how it harkened back to the original trilogy. But I also loved the whole premise of it. You know, who's trying to kill Padme? And then it opens up into all this, like, whoa. And it has so much good things. Geonosis was amazing. It has Camino. It has those beasts in the arena. That arena battle. The start of the Clone Wars. The fantastic Jedi just fighting against the droids. And I think that's the one reason why I really love the prequels. It shows the Jedi beforehand. You heard all those stories in 4, 5, and 6, and now you can see them, and it's so beautiful. It's so good. And then there's that chase at the start. That was so good. Now, this is one of those films where you've got to really think about it. So if you are going to watch this film, you have to watch it after number 1. Why? Because after seeing number 1, a lot of number 2 opens up. So, like, the relationship with Padme and Anakin. I think we can all agree that that while the relationship works in episode 2, it could have been better. Now, it's fairly solid if you've seen number 1 and you're like, okay, they're basically in each other's life because of how big they have been, you know, with Anakin helping them escape Tatooine and helping them out, and then helping get Naboo back on track. So that's all that. And then in number 2, it's like, oh, they are teens. You have to remember Anakin's 19 in this, and I think Padme's 22, 23, I think. Which makes sense. You know, he's still a somewhat child. She's the adult here, and that's how they're acting like it. But I really love it. I love the fact that, because from his point of view here's this. He doesn't know how to talk to women. And he's also in love. So that line, I hate sand, it works perfectly because it makes sense. It's actually a good line because he doesn't know how to talk to women. Obi-Wan's not going to get him aside and go like, oi, you know, if you want to get with a woman, you got to say this stuff. No. They're told no emotions. Yet in the first one, we find out he's too old for being a Jedi, and his lifestyle and who he is and who he's been and how his emotions take hold is not questioned that with the Jedi. Also for the fact that Qui-Gon, who believed in him, was somebody who didn't really follow the orders of the Council. And technically Obi-Wan, which I loved in this. So here's the thing. The first 20 minutes of this film has some of the best character development I've ever seen in a film. Not in terms of dialogue, in terms of actions and sound design, and even just physical acting. It works so well. Such as when Padme's asleep and stuff, and they're waiting to find out what's going on. The banter, you know, you pan in, and there's that robot coming in, making those slug things come in. That banter, I love that banter in the background that you can just barely hear. He's like, oh, not this again. You gotta be this, you gotta be that. It's just so well done. Plus, like, the very start of it, when they're on the elevator, he's like, remember that time with a bunch of Gundarks? That was you, Master. Oh, yes. Like, even that little smile, remembering something bad, is just, it's such a human, memorial thing, and it's just so well done. I have to admit, there is a lot of good character development here, but not in the way you'd think. It isn't really focused upon. It's there. You just got to piece it together, and it's great because you got Obi-Wan saying, "Stop being, Anakin, calm down a bit." And then next thing you know, he fucking runs out a window. He jumps out the window to grab onto the robot, and you're like, "Thanks, Master. You're very good at helping me out here." And then there's also the bit when he's like, "Oh, I needed to find a speeder I liked," and then you've lost him. Well, I thought I was taking a shortcut. Well, you lost him. And then he's like, oh, excuse me? I hate it when he does that. Like, there's so many good scenes in this film that just add so much depth to the characters. It really makes you feel like there is a really good friendship relationship going on here in, like, the first 20 to 30 minutes of this film. That's really good to pull off and very well done, I have to admit. Not many people can see that, but it's there. If you look hard enough, it's there, okay? It is there. I mean, if I can see it, I'm sure you could see it. But then again, I grew up with the films. But also, it just makes so much sense. Really worked. Absolutely. Now, there's also things like Jango Fett. Anyone who says Jango Fett is a terrible character, get the fuck out of here. He is better than Boba. Why? He actually does shit. He actually kills shit. And he doesn't die a shitty death. I liked Boba when I first saw him. He was a pretty badass. But guess what? His father's better. Why? Well, he fought against the Jedi and won, or at least survived. He killed a Jedi. He's killed a whole lot of other things. And he got killed by Mace Windu. And he was a badass by doing it. Just before he's about to die, he kills a giant freaking ox thing. An alien ox. And then gets decapitated. It's like, hey, that's the way to go out. Good on you. But everybody's like, oh, but he's no Boba Fett. Fuck off with that shit. Boba Fett is shithouse compared to Jango. But you know what's even better? This film actually gave a better backstory to Boba than we already had. Keeping in mind, though, that there was an extended universe as well, and then there was this, and then there was that. But I think overall, the films, especially number 2, really just made it just fantastically better. Fantastic better. Now, in terms of deleted scenes, this is interesting. We can all agree that the film, I think, overall comes and works and all that, and even like the love stories, it's not Leia and Han level of good, but it's solid. It's solid enough, right? There are deleted scenes in this film that really should have been in this film from the get-go, because it actually makes that solid relationship between Anakin and Padme so very close to Han and Leia relationship status. So there's this great scene where they're in Naboo, and this is before they get to the lake house, so before the whole, like, I'm getting torn apart thing, and they're like, we can't do this, which actually makes a lot more sense with these deleted scenes put back in. So there's a scene where they go and meet Padme's mother and father and sister. It's great. They go sit down like a family, and then his sister's like, Padme's sister is like, you're the first boyfriend she's ever brought in. Padme has a few seconds of thought and goes, oh, he's not a boyfriend, like, you know, it's very subtle things like that, but it just works, you know. Oh, he's not my boyfriend. Okay. And then there are moments, though, where Anakin's talking to their father and stuff, and you just see Padme looking outside like smiling. Like a family thing. She realizes this is something that he should be. But then it's like, oh, he's a Jedi. Can't actually do that. Like, which comes back to later on where they're talking into the scene where he's giving his heart and soul out, and it's like, I can't do this, you know. We can't, this isn't the life we need. But then, of course, over time with his mother's death, which was a fantastic scene, you know, how he goes crazy. Fantastic scene. But with the mother's death and stuff, she slowly realizes that he needs someone. He needs an anchor. That's her. And it's a very good human thing. You know, when the rage builds up, he needs somebody there to calm him down. And that's Padme. It's a very good thing. But it's annoying because those scenes, about 2-3 scenes, should be put back in the film. And I hope there is some sort of ultimate cut or some sort of special edition of number 2 that comes out where they go, yeah, you know what, we're going to put those scenes back in. Or even if there's a fan cut, if there's a fan edit there of episode 2 that has those deleted scenes put back in the right place, tell me. I need to know, because those scenes make that film so much better. It adds character depth. Now, it was said that they were taken out because of certain, you know, it didn't advance the plot. I understand that. It doesn't really advance the plot, but it advanced the character. And if it advances the character, for me, I think that's more memorable than the plot. Even though the plot in this is actually very, very good, at least I thought it was, that character-wise, it's almost there. And that's why I count these scenes as canon, because they're not really scenes that Disney's going to throw away and be like, yeah, we can build our own. It's like, they're not. It'd be pointless to. I mean, of course, Disney's done some stupid shit over Star Wars, but I feel like this sort of thing, it will work better. And it's so good. Like, I'm not going to lie, if you had problems with the relationship in episode 2, watch those deleted scenes, and I mean, hell, if there is a cut edited of those scenes into the film, watch them, because these scenes are finished. They're basically finished. You might need to do some high res up and all that if you were to put on a Blu-ray, but they're basically finished. And it is annoying that they're not in the film. Another thing is the start of the Clone Wars. I love the clones. I mean, let's be honest here, we all know the Clone Wars were going to be something to do with clones because it's mentioned in episode 4. But what's interesting is some people still complain, oh, these clones and stuff, it's fine. Like, that's City's plan that we'll get to number 3, which is awesome. But what's interesting is, well, first of all, it's weird. So a lot of people are like, well, hang on, how are they going to protect the galaxy? There's only 1 million of them and 200,000. A lot of fans have been saying, so this is just something that I've just remembered. So in the film, there's when Obi-Wan's looking over and seeing all the clones, they're in like squares, and there's like 50 to 100 in each square. a lot of fans think that those 50 to 100 in the square is what he means. A million more troops, a million more units is 100 of, 100 million of those, which would make a lot more sense and make more sense of protecting a galaxy more so than, 1.5 million. Like, let's be honest, realistically, even in Star Wars, it would make sense. Well, good thing is, Lucas never went into full detail about that little thing, so it's like he can expand that, and I think they did in the extended universe, which is now non-canon because Disney fucked it over and stuff like that, and yeah, and then they made some shitty Force Awakens, but yeah. But overall, I really love Attack of the Clones. There isn't really much sourness I have with it. Like, it does get a bit slow in the middle, then it ramps up, like, within, I think, 20 minutes. The middle being 20 minutes, or half an hour. For me, it was 20 minutes. It ramps up after that. Basically ramps up a lot when Anakin goes looking for his mother, I think. I think that's a really good scene. Deleted scene-wise, I've already talked about most of them. There is some small deleted extended scenes that kind of work. There's one in the speed one where a flag goes over and Obi-Wan's got to like rip it off. That was alright. It's just a small extension of the scene, not that. But there's a really good one where Anakin's having another nightmare before he has a nightmare in Naboo, which I thought was a good... it's actually a pretty good scene. It should really have been finished and added to the movie, which unfortunately it wasn't. See, that seems to be the thing with the prequels. There's a lot of great deleted scenes that were not added into the movies, which they should have been. May make the films longer, but truthfully, it makes them better. But again, that's my perspective. So that's it. I would give it a solid 8 for number 2, which is the same as episode 1. But I love it. I mean, it's a very good film. It did its own thing. It took Star Wars. It did its own thing. It made a really interesting story. Had great sets, great designs, great miniatures, great everything. Like that battle in the end in the Clone Wars, there are miniatures there. There's actually like miniature explosions and stuff. It's awesome. Very well put together. Sometimes there's a lot of CGI as well, but overall I think it was pretty solid. So yeah, I'd give that a solid 8. Episode 1, solid 8. Episode 2, solid 8. But then, when we get to episode 3, whew! Lucas did some good with 1 and 2. He tried something different, and he pretty much nailed it with the first 2 films. But when he gets to number 3, he adds the best of the prequels and the best of the original trilogy, and he makes a masterpiece. Up there with Empire. And it's very well made. Very well made. But we'll get to that. We'll have to get to that. But before we get to that, all I want to say is... May the Force be with you. It's my favourite Star Wars film behind Empire, and, Anakin being my favourite character. And his lightsaber, his lightsaber, not Rey's. Anyway, that's Aussie Viking out. I'll see you in Valor.